Well, hello everybody. Welcome to this time with Jim. It's a time when we look at what's happening around us, especially in today's environment and economics for the future. Today my guest is John Cruz, who's written a book called Robonomics. Prepare today for the Jobless Economy of Tomorrow. Welcome, John.
Thank you very much.
What is your definition of Robonomics? What does that mean?
Well, it's a combination of robotics, and economics. And I define that as the branch of economics that deals with the study of the effects of advanced automation, especially artificial intelligence and robots.
Okay. Can you expand a little bit on what is artificial intelligence in your understanding?
Well, I think first we have to look at how do you define intelligence? We all say, one person is smarter than somebody else, but what does that really mean? And I think a short definition is that intelligence is the capacity to learn. A computer these days does exactly what it's programmed to do. It can't do anything more than that. But artificial intelligence is the science of getting a computer to think like a human, one that can understand common sense, it can reason, it can figure out cause and effect. So eventually, computers would have the intelligence that a human would have. Another way to put it is artificial intelligence is getting computers to do things that they do in science fiction movies.
Okay. How does this artificial intelligence, or AI, how does that then impact upon robotics?
Well, currently, robots that we have today are what we call dumb robots. They're controlled probably by computer, but they don't have any capacity to really learn on their own. So once you have artificial intelligence, you have a box with a computer brain that thinks and acts like a human. When you combine that with the physical body of a robot, then you would have a smart robot. And you could have a humanoid or other shape type robot that could go and do all the physical things that a human can do. If you've seen the movie Star Wars and C-3PO, that character is a humanoid type intelligent robot. So I think we'll eventually have a lot of robots with that kind of form and intelligence.
Okay, so within the book that you have, Robonomics, you talk about automation revolution. How do you see that happening?
Well, that really should be advanced automation revolution. I mean, a typewriter is more advanced than a pen and paper. But the advanced automation revolution will come about as a result of artificial intelligence. And it will impact economics, our society, and the way we live.
Okay. Now, how do you see AI, artificial intelligence, and smart robots affecting the economy?
Well, I think the first thing we'll see is widespread unemployment. And we may actually be starting to see that now. If you look at a chart of manufacturing production over the last 20 years or 10 years, and you look at the number of people, this is just the U.S. alone, that are involved in that manufacturing, the production has gone up, but the number of people employed has gone down. And a lot of that has to do with the beginnings of automation. They're using more robots and intelligent computers to do that.
Okay, so you see this as a gradual takeover revolution type thing?
I think it will kind of snowball. It's just getting started now, and it will go faster and faster. It will kind of follow the general law, or Moore's law of computers, that the number of calculations a computer can do increases dramatically every year.
Okay.
It about doubles every 18 months to 2 years. So it's going to start slowly and then suddenly take off very quickly.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons I wrote this book, is to think through everything and hope that people get prepared for that. So we're not reacting to it. We're going to be prepared before that happens.
Okay. For everyone, we're talking with John Cruz, who's written the book Robonomics, Prepare Today for the Jobless Economy of Tomorrow. Now, can you tell me a little bit about the general rule that technology ultimately creates more jobs than it destroys?
Yeah, that's always historically been the case, that when a new technology comes online, people fear that it will impact their jobs, and it might impact specific jobs, but overall it tends to create more jobs than are destroyed. That dates back to the Luddite riots in the 1700s, up to when computers became prevalent in the office and in the home in the 1980s. The overall level of employment actually increased. It didn't decrease.
Okay.
It didn't put people out of work because there was more work to be done.
So do you think that this will happen with the automation revolution, advanced automation revolution?
No, I think we have been lulled into a false sense of security.
Oh.
Because once we have artificial intelligence algorithms and combined with robotic bodies, once that really takes off, there's really nothing that a human can do that a computer could not do.
So, robots take all of the jobs?
Not literally all the jobs. They will take almost all the jobs. One of the chapters in my book is Jobs for Humans. I think humans that work in theater, television, movies, people that appear on camera, I think we'll always have people there. We'll always have celebrities of some kinds that we want to follow. And but in professional athletes, I think we'll always have jobs.
Okay.
One of the most widespread jobs for humans will be as teachers and daycare workers, especially for younger kids. I don't think a lot of parents will be comfortable, just having mechanical robots taking care of their children all day, although, they might do a better job than most teachers.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But then again, if you do have a teaching job, it probably won't pay very well because there will be a much larger supply of teachers, and following the supply and demand, you're going to have a large supply of potential teachers and a lower demand than today.
Okay. Now, what could I do? Just a general citizen, general population of the earth. How do I prepare for a jobless economy?
Well, I really think we're going to see three phases that you can concentrate on. And the first phase we're just entering now. And this is where I recommend investing in companies that are pursuing automation, advanced automation. That's things like artificial intelligence and robotics and self-driving technology.
Okay.
So companies like Google, or actually the name now is Alphabet, and Apple, IBM, Microsoft, Facebook, kind of the big players in automation are investing a lot in artificial intelligence. And Alphabet is also investing a lot in robotics and self-driving technologies. So I think companies like that are a good long-term investment.
Okay.
And then there's phase two. Phase two will happen when deflation starts. Because when we have more automation, that means that the prices of things will also go down. Every manufacturer will be replacing their human labor with robot labor. So it's much less expensive. And with the forces of supply and demand, those prices will be much lower than they are today. And I think prices could fall 50% to 90% of where they are now. And a lot of people are resistant to that idea, but it's happened before. It actually happened in the U.S. and in the Western civilization in the 1870s. That was when the Bessemer process of making steel became popular.
Okay.
And what that did was made the process of making high-quality steel much less expensive. And that lowered the cost of everything. We went through a period of about 20 years where there was drastic lowering of prices and, in many cases, wages. The price of most commodities fell by 1/3, and the price of some things in agriculture, wheat and cotton, they fell by 80%. When we go through what I call the second Great Deflation, it could happen much more quickly, much faster, because we have, of course, the internet and instant communication around the world. So prices will adjust quickly, and there will be a much more rapid adjustment to lower prices.
Okay. And the third phase then?
Let me go back in the second phase.
Okay.
Sorry. What you want to do there is hold cash, because when prices go down, things lose monetary value. Mm-hmm. So real estate and gold and things that are typically safe investments will not be good investments. They'll actually lose money. When we have had periods of high inflation, you do want hard assets that hold their value, real estate and precious metals and things like that. But in deflation, the opposite is true. So you want to hold cash.
Okay. And
you need to be careful, because the deflation may be so rampant that even a savings account may actually lose money. They may actually charge you money to keep money in a savings account. So you need to be aware of that. So put your money in a safe place.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then the third phase, you need to move your assets into capital, and that is putting your money so that it is in something that makes money. For example, stocks that pay dividends, real estate that pays money, like rental real estate, and in some cases, things that pay royalties. Those are some examples of things where you need to put money to make money.
Okay. Very good. As you talk about this advanced automation revolution, how do you see that affecting the government?
Well, it'll affect the government the way everybody else does, but the government will probably try to combat unemployment, and I think that is just forestalling the inevitable. They may try to pass laws to encourage human employment and maintain wages, but I think those are fool's errands. I don't think eventually that will just prolong the pain. So the question is, what do people do when they can no longer trade their labor for money? And one thing, the only logical solution is what's called a universal basic income. The government will provide an income for everyone and do away with all the entitlement programs that we have now. Probably Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, to food stamps, housing assistance, everything like that will go away, and every adult will get a monthly stipend. So then you have the question of, how do you get the money to pay for that?
Right.
Because as more and more jobs are lost to automation, the government's income is going to decrease greatly. The federal government makes about 70% of their money comes from taxing labor. That's the wages and salary portion of the income tax, combined with all the payroll taxes, Social Security and unemployment, and other things that you pay through your paycheck. So how are you going to make up that huge loss of revenue? And my proposition is, if you can't tax the human labor, tax the robot labor.
Oh.
So if we have a rate on the robot tax of somewhere $10 to $15 an hour, that would be enough to give every adult citizen in the U.S. about $500 a month. Now, I know it doesn't sound like much. You said, how can you live on $500 a month? But remember, we're going to have great deflation for a period. and that will, what is now $500 a month will seem like much more than that.
Okay. When do you see this advanced automation revolution taking place?
Yeah, that's hard to tell when it's really going to happen, when we really have true general artificial intelligence. And that relies on the development of two things. One is the computing power, because the computers that we have now are just not fast enough to think like a human. So we need that increase in computing power that has been happening for several decades. But that needs to continue. And then we also need the software. We need the artificial intelligence algorithm that will actually learn and think like a human. And if these things develop on a exponential scale like they have been, I think by the year 2030 to 2035, somewhere in there, we'll have true artificial intelligence.
Okay.
And the automation revolution will be well underway.
Gotcha. And so when this computing capability and artificial intelligence reach that point, a certain point, then things will be taking a more definite curve in this revolution.
Yes, it'll be almost vertical for a while.
Okay, very interesting.
And you have to also keep in mind that the technological advances will not stop there. They will continue, so that these AI algorithms will be not just as smart as a human, but after a couple of years they'll be twice as smart as a human, and a couple of years later 4 times as smart.
Right.
So,
okay.
They'll be
now, what are some other books that deal with the subject? What makes your book, Robonomics, different?
Some other books. One is Rise of the Robots by Martin Ford, that came out last year and has won a lot of awards. I recommend that highly. Another is The Second Machine Age. That's by Eric Brynolfsson and Andrew McAfee. Another one I like is Humans Need Not Apply. It's by Jerry Kaplan.
Okay.
And any of the books by Ray Kurzweil. He is well known as a futurist, and he's written several books, one of which is the Age of Spiritual Machines and the Age of Intelligent Machines. And in those books, he made a number of predictions about the future of technology, and most of those have come true. So he's very prescient. So why is my book different? My book looks at it from the point of view of the average person and the average investor. And, the subtitle is Prepare Today for the Jobless Economy of Tomorrow. It's what you can do to prepare yourself for that jobless economy. And we mentioned the 3 phases earlier, and I go into detail in the book of exactly where to put your money and when.
Okay, very good. Well, we've been talking with John Cruz today, Robonomics, Prepare Today for the Jobless Economy of Tomorrow. Where, John, can we get a copy of Robonomics?
You can get a digital copy from Amazon.com, and you can get a paperback copy wherever books are sold, online or in your favorite bookstore.
Okay.
And I also want to mention that I do have a newsletter. You can find me on Facebook at Robonomics, or there's a website, robonomics.net.
Robonomics.net.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else that you'd like to add to this, John?
No, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, this has been Today with Jim, and we've been talking with John Cruz, the author of Robonomics, Prepare Today for the Jobless Economy of Tomorrow. Until next time, take care.